Have you ever noticed that the people remembered long after they're gone rarely lived the safest lives? They weren't remembered because they avoided failure, stayed inside their comfort zones, or waited until every risk disappeared. They became unforgettable because they dared to live differently. They chose courage when fear seemed easier. They chose purpose when comfort was more tempting. They chose to write a story worth telling. Now ask yourself one question. If someone were to tell the story of your life 100 years from now, what would they say? Would they describe someone who simply existed, following routines and expectations? Or would they speak of someone who embraced uncertainty, overcame impossible odds, inspired others, and transformed every obstacle into an opportunity? The truth is, your legend isn't something you discover at the end of your life. It is something you create every single day through the choices you make, the fears you face, and the person you decide to become. Welcome to the legend you create. Stay with me until the very end, because this journey isn't about becoming famous. It's about becoming unforgettable in the only way that truly matters, by living a life that reflects your highest potential. Every person enters this world carrying an unwritten story. At birth, none of us know where the road will lead. We don't know the victories we'll celebrate, the failures we'll endure, or the lessons that will quietly shape our character. Yet somewhere along the way, many people stop writing their own stories. Instead, they begin living chapters written by fear, by other people's expectations, and by the belief that ordinary is the safest place to remain. They forget that every remarkable life in history began as an ordinary life. The difference wasn't destiny, it was decision. Greatness has never belonged to a chosen few. It has always belonged to those who refuse to let circumstances become the author of their future. Life has a remarkable way of testing people before revealing what they are capable of becoming. Challenges don't appear because life is unfair. They appear because strength cannot exist without resistance. Imagine a sword being forged. It begins as ordinary metal, but before it becomes something extraordinary, it must pass through intense heat, relentless pressure, and countless strikes from the blacksmith's hammer. Without that difficult process, it would never become strong enough to fulfill its purpose. Human character is shaped in much the same way. The moments that feel most difficult are often the moments quietly preparing you for responsibilities you cannot yet imagine. Fear is one of the greatest storytellers you will ever encounter. It whispers that you're too inexperienced, too late, too ordinary, or too different. It predicts failure before you've even begun. It convinces you that your dream belongs to someone else who is smarter, wealthier, or more talented. But fear has one weakness. It cannot survive repeated courage. Every time you act despite uncertainty, fear loses a little of its influence. Every courageous decision reminds your mind that its predictions are not always reality. Eventually, what once felt impossible becomes simply another step forward. That is how legends are created, not through the absence of fear, but through the decision to keep moving even when fear walks beside you. One of the greatest misunderstandings about extraordinary lives is the belief that they begin with extraordinary opportunities. People often look at someone who has accomplished great things and imagine they were somehow different from the beginning. They assume success arrived because of perfect timing, rare talent, or unbelievable luck. What they rarely see are the countless ordinary mornings when that person chose discipline over excuses. They don't see the evenings spent learning while others were distracted. They don't see the failures, the uncertainty, or the moments when giving up seemed completely reasonable. The legend you create reminds us that legends are not born during moments of glory. They are quietly built in moments when nobody is watching. Every unseen sacrifice becomes another sentence in the story you'll someday tell. Imagine a sculptor standing before an enormous block of marble. To everyone else, it appears to be nothing more than cold stone. But the sculptor sees something hidden inside. With every careful strike of the chisel, another piece falls away. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Slowly, the masterpiece begins revealing itself. Your life follows the same pattern. Every challenge removes a layer of fear. Every lesson chips away at self-doubt. Every setback eliminates another excuse. Growth is not about becoming someone completely new. It is about removing everything that prevents the strongest version of yourself from emerging. The masterpiece has been there all along. Life simply gives you opportunities to uncover it. There will be seasons when your progress feels invisible. You'll wonder whether all your effort is making any difference. You'll continue learning, improving, and working while the results remain hidden beneath the surface. During those moments, remember that roots always grow before branches. A mighty tree spends years building a foundation that nobody can see. Those hidden roots become the reason it can survive powerful storms later in life. Your own unseen effort is building something just as important. Patience, wisdom, resilience, and discipline rarely attract attention, but they become the very qualities that support every future success. Never mistake invisible growth for the absence of progress. Another lesson hidden within every meaningful journey is that comparison quietly steals the joy of becoming. In today's world, it's easy to believe everyone else is moving faster than you. You see achievements without seeing sacrifices. You see victories without seeing failures. You see confidence without seeing years of self-doubt. Social comparison convinces you that you're behind, even when you're exactly where you need to be. But your story was never meant to look like anyone else's. Every legendary life follows its own rhythm, faces its own battles, and discovers its own purpose. The moment you stop comparing your beginning to someone else's middle, you finally give yourself permission to grow at your own pace. The book reminds us that every meaningful decision requires leaving something behind. You cannot carry every habit, every fear, and every outdated belief into the future you hope to create. Some versions of yourself must end so stronger versions can begin. Perhaps you need to leave behind the habit of seeking approval from everyone around you. Perhaps you need to let go of the belief that one mistake defines your worth. Perhaps you need to release the fear of disappointing people who were never meant to direct your life in the first place. Letting go often feels like loss in the moment, but later it reveals itself as freedom. You make space for possibilities that could never exist, while your hands remain full of yesterday. As you continue walking your path, you'll begin noticing that courage becomes easier, not because challenges disappear, but because your identity changes. At first, courage feels like something you occasionally borrow during difficult moments. Eventually, it becomes part of who you are. You stop asking whether you're capable of handling life's challenges because you've already proven it to yourself again and again. Confidence is not built by avoiding difficulty. It is built by surviving difficulty and realizing you are stronger than you imagined. One day, someone may ask you what changed your life. They may expect you to mention one dramatic event or one life-changing opportunity, but you'll probably smile because you'll know the truth. Your life changed through countless small decisions that seemed almost insignificant at the time. Choosing to continue when quitting would have been easier. Choosing to forgive instead of holding resentment. Choosing to learn instead of making excuses. Choosing hope when fear offered more comfortable answers. Those ordinary decisions quietly created an extraordinary future. Perhaps the most beautiful realization of all is that your legend is not measured by the number of people who know your name. It is measured by the number of lives made better, because you lived with integrity, courage, kindness, and purpose. A parent who raises compassionate children creates a legend. A teacher who inspires students to believe in themselves creates a legend. A friend who stands beside someone during their darkest season creates a legend. Greatness is not reserved for those who appear in history books. It belongs to anyone who chooses to leave the world a little better than they found it. As this journey continues, remember that every sunrise places another blank page before you. Yesterday's mistakes do not have the power to write today's chapter unless you hand them the pen. Every new day offers another opportunity to choose courage over comfort, discipline over distraction, gratitude over complaint, and purpose over fear. Over time, those choices become habits. Those habits become character. And character becomes the legacy that remains long after achievements fade. Because in the end, the legend you create is not about becoming extraordinary in the eyes of the world. It is about becoming extraordinary in the way you live, the way you love, the way you persevere, and the way you refuse to surrender your dreams. Your legend is being written right now, not by luck, not by fate, but by every decision you make when no one else is watching. And one day, when you look back on the road you've traveled, you'll realize that the greatest story was never the one people told about you. It was the story you chose to live, one courageous step at a time. There comes a stage in every remarkable journey where life stops asking, "What do you want?" and begins asking a far more important question: who are you becoming? At first, our goals are usually focused on what we hope to gain. We want success, security, recognition, freedom, or happiness. There is nothing wrong with those desires. But as you continue walking your path, something begins to shift. You realize that the greatest reward was never the destination itself. The real reward is the transformation that happened inside you while pursuing it. Money can be earned and lost. Opportunities come and go. Circumstances change without warning. But the courage you build, the wisdom you gain, and the character you develop become permanent parts of who you are. That is the kind of wealth no one can ever take away. The legend you create teaches that every person leaves two legacies behind. The first is visible. It includes the work you accomplished, the goals you achieved, and the things you built. The second legacy is invisible, yet far more powerful. It lives in the lives you touched, the hope you gave to someone who was struggling, the encouragement you offered when another person felt ready to quit, and the example you set through your daily actions. Long after people forget the details of your achievements, they will remember how you made them feel. They will remember whether your presence gave them confidence or fear, hope or discouragement, peace or chaos. In the end, your influence will always outlive your accomplishments. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that ordinary days don't matter. They wait for dramatic opportunities to prove who they are, not realizing that extraordinary moments are shaped by ordinary habits. The athlete wins because of countless unseen hours of training. The musician performs beautifully because of years of quiet practice. The leader remains calm during crisis because of a lifetime spent developing discipline and wisdom. Greatness is never created in the spotlight alone. It is created in the silent moments when nobody is watching. Every decision to stay consistent, every promise you keep to yourself, every difficult choice you make with integrity becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. Imagine standing beside a river that has been flowing for thousands of years. The water doesn't become powerful because it rushes recklessly toward the ocean. It becomes powerful because it never stops moving. Day after day, year after year, It patiently shapes stone that once seemed impossible to change. Your persistence works the same way. You don't need to change your life overnight. You simply need to keep moving forward. One page read today becomes knowledge. One healthy choice becomes strength. One kind conversation becomes trust. One courageous decision becomes confidence. Time quietly multiplies everything you consistently repeat. Never underestimate what small actions can become when they are guided by unwavering commitment. As you grow, you'll also discover that forgiveness is one of the greatest acts of strength. Many people carry old wounds for years, believing that holding on to resentment somehow protects them from future pain. In reality, resentment often imprisons the person carrying it far more than the person who caused it. Forgiveness does not mean pretending the past never happened. It means refusing to allow yesterday's pain to control tomorrow's possibilities. Sometimes the person you most need to forgive is yourself. We all make mistakes. We all choose the wrong path at times. We all have moments we wish we could erase. But your past mistakes were meant to become lessons, not lifelong identities. A person who learns from failure becomes wiser. A person who lives inside failure becomes trapped. The choice belongs to you. The journey also reveals something remarkable about purpose. Purpose is rarely found by endlessly searching for it. More often, it is discovered through action. Many people spend years waiting for absolute clarity before they begin. They believe one day they'll suddenly know exactly what they were meant to do. But clarity usually follows commitment, not the other way around. As you keep learning, serving, creating, and growing, your direction becomes clearer. Every experience teaches you something about yourself. Every challenge reveals another strength. Every opportunity uncovers another possibility. The road becomes visible because you kept walking, not because you stood still waiting for certainty. There will always be voices trying to define who you are. Some will underestimate you because they only see your present circumstances. Others will try to place limits on your dreams because they have accepted limits in their own lives. If you're not careful, you'll begin seeing yourself through their eyes instead of your own. But remember this truth. Other people may describe your story, but they do not get to write it. Their opinions are temporary. Your choices are permanent. Every morning, life hands you the pen once again. It quietly asks, "What will today's chapter say?" And every evening, whether you realize it or not, another page has been written. Perhaps the most inspiring realization of all is that legends are never created by people who believed they were extraordinary from the beginning. They were created by ordinary individuals who refused to surrender when life became difficult. They stumbled, failed, questioned themselves, and sometimes lost their way. Yet every setback became another reason to grow instead of another excuse to quit. Over time, the person who once doubted everything became the person others looked to for inspiration. Not because they were perfect, but because they proved that persistence can accomplish what talent alone never could. As this chapter comes to a close, remember that your life is not measured by the number of years you live, but by the depth with which you choose to live them. One person may live 100 years without ever truly following their heart. Another may live far fewer years yet leave behind a legacy that inspires generations. The difference is rarely found in circumstances. It is found in choices. Every act of courage becomes part of your legend. Every obstacle overcome becomes another chapter. Every moment you choose hope instead of fear becomes another sentence in a story worth remembering. One day, many years from now, you'll pause and look back at the road you've traveled. You'll remember the fears that once seemed impossible to overcome. You'll remember the dreams that once felt far beyond your reach. And you'll smile Not because the journey was easy, but because you never stopped walking. In that moment, you'll understand that the legend you create was never about chasing perfection or impressing the world. It was about becoming the kind of person who faced life with courage, treated others with kindness, remained faithful to their purpose, and refused to let fear write the final chapter. That is the legend no passage of time can erase. That is the story that continues long after the final page has been turned.